Hi guys and welcome back to another video. I'm Shah and this is Thoroughly Enjoyed Books. As you can see from the view behind me, this isn't a book related video. There's no books at all in this video. I just wanted to come on here and give you a really quick talk about my hamster. I want to introduce you to her. I was planning on doing this video when I had tamed her, when I could take her out and I could hold her. However, taming is proven to be a little bit difficult, partly because I'm very inexperienced, partly because she's also very timid. So we're not at the point I wanted to be yet, but I thought if I didn't make this video now, I probably never would. She's popped up in a few videos in the past. You've heard her scratching around. I've shared some pictures of her with you. So I thought I'd come on and formally introduce you. So as you can see behind me, this is her cage. She is in an IKEA Detolf cabinet, which I've converted into a cage for her. She's not awake, but you might be able to hear her scratching around a little bit every now and then. I just thought I'd introduce you to her very briefly, tell you her name, how long I've had her, how old she is, and just a brief overview of her cage, where I've been getting my hamster care advice from and things like that, and just very quickly talk to you about her. I'll obviously put some little clips in of her as well, and she might come out. She tends to wake up around about 10:30 and we're currently on 10:15 at night. So maybe she'll pop out and say hi to you in a little while. I don't know. But basically my hamster is called Cornelia. She is a 12-week-old Syrian hamster. So she's just about fully grown now. Oh, she is. She's peeking. She's wondering what's going on. She's a 12-week-old Syrian hamster and she's a banded sable print hamster, which is my favourite hamster print ever. I think she's absolutely gorgeous. Let me start at the beginning with her then. Back in, I think it was August, I was starting to feel very down, realising that winter was coming up and that we're probably going to be in lockdown for a long time coming. And basically one of the things that had been talked about with my therapist and my doctor was getting an animal. I kind of talked to my boyfriend about this and he thinks that my flat is big enough for a cat. I don't think my flat is big enough for a cat. And anyway, there's kind of a no animals lease condition with this place. No animals are allowed in the building. However, I had a word with my landlord. They're very understanding. They got a pet for a very similar reason, to do with mental health, and they said, look, we can't authorise a cat or a dog because it's against the lease. However, if you get a small caged animal, fish or something, then that's absolutely fine with us. That basically left me with a hamster, and my brother had hamsters when I was younger. I think he had 2, and this was back in the early 2000s, so they had very poor hamster care back then and we never really handled them. They were my brother's hamsters, they weren't mine, and I didn't really know a lot about them and I didn't really care. However, I started looking into them and thinking about them a little bit more. My friend Claire from Claire Fenby has 2 hamsters now, and I think at the time she had 1, and she's been such a huge advocate for hamster care. So I did a little bit of research about hamsters, and I was obviously very aware that they needed a lot more space than the cages on sale. So I just messaged her and said, look, I've been approved to get a hamster by my landlord and I know that you care a lot about them, and I remember seeing something on your Instagram about them. Do you have any resources that would help me or any advice? And Claire was so helpful. She basically sent me a link to her Instagram page for her hamster, some very basic hamster care, and a link to some YouTubers who talk about hamster care. She sent me links particularly to Victoria Rachel and Erin's Animals, and I have binge watched them for the last, I think it's about 6 weeks since I made this decision. I watched them and I decided that the best solution for me in terms of a hamster cage was the IKEA Detolf. I've just realised that the lid is off. I'm going to put that back on because if she comes up unplanned, then we're going to lose her. Apologies for that. And that actually makes it a lot louder not having the lid on, which is weird. This is the IKEA Detolf, and I was planning on getting this home delivered before getting the hamster. I wanted it all set up. I looked into the research about how much space they need. Then the minimum for a Syrian hamster in the US is $450. In the UK, I think it's like $620, and then in Germany it's about $650. The IKEA Detolf is around 900 square inches, so it's above the minimum. I would love to get her an even bigger cage at some point in the future, but I don't really have the space or the money at the minute. But the IKEA Detolf is £60, and then I think it was about £20 we spent on materials to make the lid. It's about £80 in total to make the cage, and then she's here. She's coming out. Hang on, let me show you. Can you see her? There you go. Sorry, I had to do that very quickly if you're going to see her, so I'm not sure if the angle is back to normal. So she's getting ready to get up. This is what she normally does around this time of night. She starts poking her head out, seeing what's going on, and decides if she wants to come out. So like I said, got this IKEA Dettol, and then her substrate is 2 types of Carefresh and some hay, and she has aspen over where her wheel is because that is where she poops, so I'm constantly cleaning that out, so it's just a bit easier to have the aspen substrate. So I've obviously done all the research about what is safe and unsafe substrates for hamsters, and a lot of the information that you learn is shocking. Once you start doing research and not just going to the pet shop, you learn so much about these amazing animals, and I fell in love with her so quickly. So that's what I made sure I had before I got her. I made sure I had the cage, I made sure I had all her bedding, and I made sure that I had her wheel, and her wheel is a 13-inch wheel, which I think is one of the biggest ones that you can get. It just about fits in this Dettol cabinet because it's on the very base of the cage, and my lid is very slightly raised. It doesn't fit squarely in place, so it lifts up a little bit. She has got so much stuff at the minute. I want to get so much more for her, but she had the basics that she needed when I got her. I did get her from Pets at Home, which isn't ideal. You shouldn't really support getting an animal from a pet shop. However, you will find it notoriously difficult to find rescue hamsters in Leicester. And I drive, but I'm not a very confident driver, and I'd never been on the motorway when I bought her, so I couldn't go to Nottingham to one of the rescue centres to get her, and that would have just terrified me. I would have had a very stressed out hamster because I'd have been very stressed out myself. So we did get her from Pets at Home, which she's settled in so well. She's absolutely lovely. Her name is Cornelia. She is named after the song Cornelia Street by Taylor Swift, which is one of my favourite Taylor Swift songs ever, and I just think it fits her so well because I think she's quite a fancy hamster. She's gorgeous, and she gets called Corny or Nelly for short. Like I said, she's about 12 weeks old. We were told by one guy in the shop that she was about 9 weeks old. We were told by another that she was about 12 weeks old, but judging by the size she was when I got her and how much she has grown, I think she was about 9 to 10 weeks, and I've had her nearly 3 weeks now, so she's around 12 weeks old. She's just become such an integral part of my life. I absolutely love her. Since I've got her home, I have just felt so calm. I've talked about my flat. My flat is a studio apartment, but it's a large studio and it's kind of segmented, so it's a really good flat, but that does mean I sleep in the same room as her. Opposite ends of the room, she's here and my bed is like literally over there. And I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't be able to sleep. However, I have found hearing her trundle on her wheel so calming. She has got a tricksy wheel. You can hear it. You can definitely hear it. I'm not going to lie and say it's quiet. Sometimes it knocks across the bars because she knocks it and it moves. Sometimes she just trundles a bit louder. The worst bit is when she gets a seed caught on the wheel. That's why she tends to let me play with her a little bit more. She comes out and she lets me stroke her, and that's just where she seems to be a little bit more calm. So that is where I often hand feed her, which means she's pouching a bunch of seeds, and sometimes she drops one and it goes on the wheel, and then you hear that going around the wheel, which is really frustrating, and that is the loudest she gets. But I think it annoys her as much as it annoys me because it never lasts for more than a minute before she must stop and pick up the seed and stash it away again. Hello. It's so soothing to me. It's something that really helps relax me and helps me to sleep, and I've got to the point where if I wake up and I can't hear her wheel, I'm really anxious and I'm like, is she okay? That's one thing I've got a lot recently. I used to take the mick out of my boyfriend for getting really anxious about his cat when he stayed at mine, and I get it now. I completely get it, and I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm worried about her, so I'm probably worse. Nearly every night since I've got her, I wake up and see a pattern and think it's her. Whether it's on the window, whether it's on the bookshelf, whether it's on my bed, I freak out and think she's escaped and I've crushed her. And that is one of the most heartbreaking things because it is that in between waking up. It's been a weird phenomenon, and even though I know she cannot get out of this cage, she cannot lift this lid because I can barely lift this lid without it making a racket. So I know if she was to escape, I'd be able to hear it. No problem at all. But as you can see behind me, this is basically her setup. So this far side, we have got about 7 inches, I think it is, of bedding for her to burrow in, and we have her main house, which you've seen when I showed you her. Then we have a couple of bendy bridges, which she's a bit scared of. She doesn't like this one. I've never seen her on it. She kind of sniffs it and then runs away. She prefers to jump off off the roof. And then I've just got a few cardboard tubes to kind of mimic tunnels for her. And then here is the kind of like her naturalistic area. So she's got a little mini pumpkin in there. She's got more burrowing and hay, a couple of millet. And then here more bendy bridges, and this is where all her toys are, so this is where she tends to play. And we've got a sand bath and a wheel for her, so she's got plenty to do. I do want to get more, obviously there's not enough in here, and I've seen so many lovely setups. Like I said, I want to change the lid, so I want to give it a bit of a rise, which means I can give her a bit more substrate, and then give her a bit more space to play with different things, a couple of platforms and things like that. So that is plans for the future. I do have this little hideout that I got for her. As you can see, this is a very small doorway. She is too big for that. I didn't realise when I got this it was for dwarf hamsters, because I bought it online, and there was a doorway at the top which had the same size. But what I realised I could do is, because it's very flimsy wood, this, I could punch out the top bit. Once I punched out the top bit, there's all these metal staples in, so this isn't safe to put in her cage yet, but I will in the future. My partner is coming at the weekend, so we will hopefully be able to do something about that then. We're also going to get more like bits of wood just for her to climb on, maybe a bit of moss and things in there as well, just to make it a bit more natural, because those are the kinds of setups that I like. I'm not going to talk about diet because I've got a huge box over here full of food. I'm still learning about diet. I do have her main food, which is just a Harry hamster mix, which I know isn't the greatest, and then I have bags of different seeds and stuff for her, and she gets her fresh fruit and veg as well frequently, but not too frequently, so she is well cared for. I think I am still learning. There will be things that you can notice in this cage that maybe I should take out or could do better, things that I've mentioned about her care as well, and taming her and her food, as I've just mentioned. There's so much that I could do better, and I'm willing to learn as well. I'm somebody who, that if you point out that I'm doing something wrong, I will change it, because I want to give her the best life that I can. So you saw her very briefly. She hasn't come out yet, but hopefully you've seen a few clips of her by the end of this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know how often she'll be in my videos, if anything. I don't know if I'll ever be someone comfortable just taking a hamster out and walking around the house. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed meeting Cornelia. I will show more of her in future videos, but I'm not going to become a hamster channel. I'm not nowhere near good enough for that, but she'll pop up every now and then. I hope you enjoyed this video and getting to know Cornelia a little bit. Do let me know if you've got any questions. Maybe I'll do a hamster Q&A, but I think I've covered pretty much everything in this video. I know it's a bit rambly at times. That was so I could insert overlays of her. I just hope that you got something out of this. I hope it showed you a little bit about, you know, hamster care and how we shouldn't really put them in little cages that you get from pets at home. I hope that some of the videos show you some of her natural behaviours as well. I will leave links down below to some other hamster care Twitter accounts, Instagram accounts and YouTube channels where you can go and learn more about hamster care as well. And I will leave obviously my links to my Twitter and my Goodreads and all that stuff down below as well. So I hope you did enjoy this video, and I can't wait to see you in another video very, very soon. Take care. Bye.